Hello everyone. Today we're going to review together the session of December 26th, 2025, the opening of the New York markets. So what you need to know about this market though is that we are after the end of year holidays. We are after a public holiday. So as a result, we shouldn't expect a market that will function in the same way as usual. So now we're going to map our market a little bit. So here we can already see 232 lots that are at the 69,090 level. So what we're going to try to understand now is what type of market we're dealing with. Are we dealing with a bullish market? Are we dealing with a bearish market or a range-bound market? Keep in mind that precisely there may be a much lower volatility since there will be far fewer players available today. So here there we go. We see that the market is going down a little bit. We see that it's trying to break through. So if we can note this level here at the brackets and see a little bit what happens. So here we see at the delta level, we see that this level has been very, very heavily sold, but we don't necessarily see any follow through on this level. We see that it's trying to push, it tries, it succeeds. It's still quite timid though. On this kind of occasion, what's also interesting to see is to ask ourselves between the ES market and the NQ market, which of the two markets is the weakest? We find ourselves with another level that is also quite important. We see that there were quite a few exchanges made at this level. And precisely here, this will allow me to gauge a little bit the volatility that we're currently having. We see that the NQ is actually much stronger. It's starting to go back up. We could maybe try to say, maybe we'll take a small long position here. At this level again, which is quite popular. We can see though that it's a level with a lot of volume. And we see that it's a very appreciated level. So now what's important and very, very important to see is this level here has been traded a lot. What we can also see is that the delta is quite high. So that means we had more aggressive sellers than aggressive buyers. Now what we see is there continuation? What's weird is that we don't see any continuation, which could signal a reversal of the situation. So this level is quite important. We're going to note it on the NQ as well to be able to see and gauge a little bit what the two markets will do in relation to that. Remember, we also noted this level, which was a fairly important level. We had a lot of orders. So what we'll wait to see is if the market will retest this level and to see if the lots are still available. It's a very, very slow market, quite difficult to enter a position. It's not that explicit. We don't necessarily know what it's trying to do. So here we see the ES, which is a little bit stronger than the NQ. The NQ is going down, but the ES is staying at this level. We see that we're back at a level that is also very, very bought aggressively. So now what we want to see is a break above this level, or this one. We have the ES that is starting to go back down while the ES is holding. We see that it was sold off, but there's no continuation. The market isn't necessarily going to go much further. Careful, we're approaching this level again. So the question remains, what is the market going to do? There, 248. We can still see that the level is still at 248, just like before. It's quite possible that it will go for it. Here's what we'll do anyway. It gives us there. The market is quite aggressive on the buy side. So we saw clearly at the start of the market what it tried to do. It went up a little, it came back down very aggressively. It was sold heavily at this level, but you see compared to this level, in fact, there was no follow through, there was no continuation. So in fact, that gives a clue that the market doesn't want to go down and move lower. We can also see here, we can play a small level. We take the buy here, a small sell at this level, at 62, at 25,910. You always have to be careful that the market doesn't shift too much, because otherwise For now, the market isn't necessarily moving much more. It's going down a little, but here we can see that the ES is quite strong. It's holding. The NQ is a little less strong, but we still have this level here. And this one too, 57, which continues to rise. There, it was bought back without any problem. Quite aggressively, and there it's starting to go back up. The first target will necessarily be the 253. The lot, which is still at the 69,090 level. So now what the market might do is either it's a fake out and we have someone who is aggressively selling, but when we look at the delta, that's not the indication we're getting. Or we have people who are buying quite aggressively and who want to test and see if these lots are real or not. We continue to be on a very, very positive delta with absolutely no red whatsoever. NQ continues to rise. There, we can really see a market that's having a very, very hard time going down. It doesn't want to go back down. It's bought up right away, every time. The ES is very strong. A bit slow, but well, that's the market we have today. It's still a slow market. So it's not a market that will allow you to easily do bracket trading, where you take a high level, a low level, and trade it. When we're on levels that are very, very slow, it takes a very, very long time to be able to trade them. Here's another small trade we're going to take here on the NQ. So for now, there's absolutely no information that we're going to go down. So here, it's better to take this trade there. Hop, a small trade. We're breaking the highs relative to the session. And there you go. We saw it clearly. It was a real order. You saw it on the buy side. Now, what's very interesting is to see the reaction. Is it a case of there? So it's coming down a little bit. Is it now a sell-off, or do we have a participant who strongly believes that the market will continue to rise? So here we can see that NQ continues to go down. And ES as well, but not very aggressively. We can see it's having a very, very hard time going down. We see that this level is quite important. We could even consider maybe trying to take a long here, and depending on what happens, exit the position. There I'm getting out because I just wanted to see a reaction, and I didn't get a reaction. But I see it's a level of interest where we saw that at the beginning it was a bit of a support level. It's becoming a bit of a resistance, but we see that it's a level that is still heavily traded with a lot of orders. And now it's coming back. This is more like very good news. So here, I'm going to enter a long position because for now I have no bearish conviction. I don't see anything on the downside, whether on the NQ or on the ES. And I continue to see these orders that are a bit larger. So here at 31, same thing. We'll start over. We'll take a small long here and we'll target the 31 lots that are present at the ask level. There, we got there. Very, very good. And here, same thing. So that will be our target. So here we have a bit of a bracket trade where the 48.8750 is the support and the 48.90 is in a way a mini resistance. We're taking it again. So still a bullish conviction on the NQ, which combines for a total for now of $350 on the NQ and $175 on the ES. It's not a big P&L, but again, we have to remember the current market conditions, which are holiday and end of year conditions. So many participants are not in the markets trading today, and so it's therefore more difficult to trade them. Or in any case, these are markets that are much slower. We can see it, even on the tape, which is moving much less compared to the volatility we had in early December, which was impressive. Here we're really dealing with something that is much slower. But here you see this level that was considered resistance, well, we're starting to nibble a little bit higher. But in fact, what this is indicating is, well, that we might want to go higher. There, it has broken through that level again. And in fact, what it's just indicating is it wants to keep going up. And if we want to see a bit what the NQ is doing, if it's giving any clues, about wanting to go up or down. We have once again this little level at 34 right here, a level we can trade and a level we can watch. Well, we've made some gains, so we can be a little more aggressive in our approach and see what happens. So here, we're also at a level that was highly advertised in terms of volume. And so what we're going to do is look for this level again, which until now has been retested every time on the NQ. We're getting some selling pressure here. Now we have two levels. So usually we go for two levels. So what I'm going to do is, if it goes for the 34 here first, there, it went for it. Very good. And I'll re-enter since I see that it hasn't disappeared, which is actually very good news. And so I'll put my target back on that level. It's going back down. That's not necessarily a very good sign. We can see it's changing. It was at several levels. Now we see it's not at that level at all anymore. We were lucky we still managed to get out. Generally, it's not a very good sign when you start to see the number of lots going down like that or changing. But we can still see that we're on something quite aggressive on the buy side. There we get here. They were sold into, we lost it. So there was a level around here that had 30 something lots. There we're back at the 933.25 level. We're in a pretty good spot. We're quite protected, so we don't have too many worries. We keep this level in mind, so it's a level we can retest once more. So we could place an order at the buy level here. For now, we have no sign at all of a drop, even though we can see that the ES is very, very slow, very little volatility. So it's more interesting to trade the NQ, which will give you a better return than the ES, which right now is quite difficult to trade. So once again, 43 here. We had our target, which is a little bit higher. So now we're going to go for it, 31.43. So we can still see that the participant is changing their number of lots there. And so we were indeed bought. And now what we're seeing is we're returning to the earlier level, which was quite important. We even marked it, by the way. So now we're seeing if the market will retest it very quickly before possibly moving back up. So what's quite interesting is that we see that the ES, even though we see the NQ, which is a bit more volatile, is going down, the ES isn't moving. It's not moving up or down there. So we've retested that level. So here I'm at 3 contracts on the NQ. It's still a bit dangerous. So now we need to think about what we want to do. Do we want to get out? What do we want to do? Do we want to get in a little lower? What I'm watching closely is this there, what's happening. So I see that it's a level that is heavily traded. It's a level that was quite interesting. We remember that earlier. It became support, then resistance, then support again. It's a level there. We see that it's a level that is well liked, that is very popular. Now what we need to understand is what's happening. Is this level now a reversal level? So right now we don't really get that impression. So what I'm doing is selling one contract to protect myself because, I'm not very, very sure about my move. Same thing here. I was at 3 lots on the NQ. I sold one of them because in fact, what I want to do is average into a lower level, but I continue to think that the market wants to go higher. Why? Well, because when I look at these levels, I see, yes, it was sold very heavily here on the delta, but yes, it was also bought very heavily here. And I still see a tape that is still very green everywhere. There we have a 35 here, so I'm going to sell it at this level. Let's also remember that we had a major level here. So now we're going to try to see what the market will do. So here we're at 37 lots. What we want to see is that this 37 level doesn't move, meaning that it doesn't move, that it doesn't show up on other levels. That's very important. Otherwise, it generally gives a clue that the market will go down and that in the end, we have a participant who tries to get 35 lots through, can't do it, and will place them lower precisely to be able to ride the downtrend. And there you have it. So this is a session of 15 minutes. We're finishing our session. So for now at $1,233. Notably with a total gain on the NQ of 952 and on the ES of 281.25. Indeed, on the ES it was much more difficult to make gains versus the NQ, which was much more volatile and was more interesting to trade in this kind of market. There you go. So if we take a look, so we still had a maximum drawdown, which was at 1,105. So that's also something to take into account, especially if you trade on prop firms, since many prop firms will give you some constraints regarding the drawdown. So here we have a drawdown that maxed out at 1,105. So if you have a trailing drawdown, that can be an issue. If you have a fixed drawdown, usually there won't be much of a problem. And here you can see that we're at 92% of wins. So we have one loss that we cut at the start, and 11 that are wins with an average per trade of $102 for a total over 15 minutes of 1,225 in profit.